Hello students, we are going to continue our lecture of the chapter Chemical Kinetics. As mentioned in the previous lecture, I have already told you what chemical kinetic means, how to find out the rate of chemical reaction depending upon the definition of rate of reaction. With respect to that, we have done few examples. Now, the next concept what we are going to study for the chapter is rate law, or also called as differential rate law. As the name suggests, it is a law with respect to the rate of the reaction. Let us first see the definition of it. It is defined as an experimentally determined equation that expresses the rate of a chemical reaction in terms of molar concentrations of the reactants. A very important point, that is, in this the rate will be determined firstly based on their experimental observation, and secondly it is only with respect to reactants. Previously also we have written rate of reaction, where we have determined the rate of reaction with respect to both the species, that is reactants as well as products. In this case, it is only with respect to reactants. That is a basic difference. Second, in the rate equation, in the rate definition, when we have seen, from the reaction we write down the rate, means you can say that that is based on the reaction stoichiometric coefficients, whereas here it is depend upon its experimental observations. Now, for understanding the rate law in detail, let us consider one example. Suppose if I take a general reaction as A moles of A combining with B moles of B so as to form C moles of C plus D moles of D. Now, the rate of reaction at a given time is proportional to its molar concentration at that time raised to the simple powers. Now, molar concentrations of what? As we have mentioned, it is raised to, or it is proportional to the molar concentration of reactants at that time raised to its simple powers. So, according to the rate law, for this given general equation, if I have to write down the rate expression, it will be written as rate of reaction is directly proportional to the product of concentration of reactants with some simple powers. In this, it is proportional to the concentration of only and only reactants. If we just see further, by removing the proportionality sign, I can write rate of reaction is equals to K, concentration of A raised to the power X into concentration of B raised to the power Y, where K is called as proportionality constant. In this, it will be called rate constant. Now, this rate constant is independent of concentration and varies with temperature. That is very important. If we change the temperature, our rate constant value will change, but it does not change with change in concentration. Now, suppose if your concentration of A and B is 1, that is, for unit concentration of A and B, this would become 1, this would become 1, then what is our rate constant is equal to the rate of reaction. Whatever will be your rate of reaction, that will be your value for rate constant. When you are taking concentration of A and concentration of B to be 1. Now, the question arises, what are these power X and Y? The answer to that, the power X and Y of the concentration terms A and B in the rate law not necessarily equal to the stoichiometric coefficients A and B. As we have seen in our reaction, we used A moles of A plus B moles of B. Those were our stoichiometric coefficient, but need not always compulsory that as many number of moles we consider for the reaction to take place, in actual the whole takes part in the reaction. So that is why this A may or may not be equal to X. Similarly, B may or may not be equal to Y. This A and B are your theoretical values, whereas X and Y is your experimental values. X and Y may be simple whole numbers, it may be 0, or it may also be fraction. They tell us how the concentration change affects the rate of reaction. So as I mentioned, this is an experimental base value. So in a given reaction carried out in the laboratory, with the change in the concentration, how the rate of the reaction changes, that will help us to find out the values of X and Y. So those are experimentally determined values, which may or may not be equal to the stoichiometric coefficients which we write down in a given chemical reaction. After understanding how to we write down rate law, the very important question arises that why is this necessary? As we have already written rate of reaction based on the definitions, what rate law gives us extra information? So let us explain few points in that. The first and foremost, the rate law can be used to estimate the rate of reaction for any given composition of the reaction mixture. In this, the composition is not fixed. You can vary the composition starting from 0.1 molar to 10 molars to 100 molars. With respect to that, you can find out the rate of reaction. The second important application is it can be used to estimate the concentration of reactants and products at any time during the course of reaction. Means if I know my rate of reaction, the rate law, and based on that I know my rate of reaction and rate constant value, then we can find out the concentration of reactants, that can be A or B, during the course of reaction. So it will help me to find out that how much of the reactants has been consumed, or with the help of this I can also find out how much of the product is been formed. The third application is the rate law is useful to predict the mechanisms of complex reactions. I'll put a light on this in the due course of my lecture, but the point is important that rate law is used to predict the mechanism of complex reaction. So that is the important applications of rate law. Now based on this, let us just see how can we predict the reactions rate based on the rate law with some examples. Now let us take an example. Suppose if for the previous reaction my exponents X and Y is equal to 1, then the same rate law equation will become equal to rate is equals to K, concentration of A raised to the power 1 and concentration of B raised to the power 1. Now based on this rate law equation, what we can imply or what we can predict, it implies that the rate of reaction depends linearly on concentration of A and B. Means it depends upon both the concentrations, and that is linearly, that is means they are directly proportional. If either of concentration of A or B is doubled, then the rate would be doubled. If I quadruple this concentration of A, even the rate will quadruple. If I triple the concentration of A, then even rate will get triple by keeping other concentration constant. If I keep concentration of A constant and I change the concentration of B, with whatever factor I change the concentration of B, with same factor the rate of reaction will also change. This is the first one when my exponents x and y is 1. Let us take the next example. Let me consider a second example where my exponent x is equal to 2 and exponent y is equal to 1. Then our rate law equation, that is equation 2, will become rate is equals to k, concentration of A raised to the power 2 and concentration of B raised to the power 1. According to this, if concentration of A is doubled by keeping the concentration of B constant, then the rate of reaction will increase by a factor of 4. Why will it increase by a factor of 4? Because right now with concentration of A, the coefficient is, or the stoichiometric coefficient, the exponent is 2. So whatever factor we do with A, double of that will be our factor of rate. If I increase this 4 times, then it's square. That is, the rate will increase 16 times by keeping the concentration of B constant. So in this, it is explaining that how will our rate vary with the concentration of A changing and with the concentration of B changing. Let us take a third example. Suppose if my x value is 0. If x value is 0, then in this concentration of A raised to the power 0, anything raised to the power 0 becomes 1. Means it tells me that the rate is independent of the concentration of A. Means in this given reaction, if the A concentration changes, it is not going to hamper the rate of the reaction because its exponent value was equal to 0, which means it is independent of concentration of A. Let us take the fourth example. Suppose in case my x value is less than 0. If it is less than 0, then the rate will decrease with the increase in the concentration of A. Means in this, they will be inversely proportional to each other because my x value is less than 0. So in that case, with the increase in concentration of A, the rate of the reaction will decrease. So these are just various ways I have explained you that with the change in the values of x and y, how can we predict the rate of any given chemical reaction. Now in this I have given you a general example. Let us take one specific example of a chemical reaction. Consider a reaction where NO2 gas combines with CO gas to form NO gas plus CO2 gas. Now this is a theoretical based reaction. The rate of reaction is experimentally found, which is to be proportional to the square of concentration of NO2 and it is independent that of CO. So here it is proportional to the square of concentration of NO2. Means if I want to write down my rate reaction based on the rate law, then it will be rate is equals to K concentration of NO2 raised to the power 2. Why raised to the power 2? Because they have mentioned it is square. Then if I write down concentration of CO in this case, as they have mentioned it is independent, means that will be raised to the power 0 and anything raised to the power 0, that is 1. So our rate expression will not be writing down anything with respect to CO because they have said it is independent of the concentration of CO. So it will be only dependent on the concentration of NO2, that too it will be raised to the power 2. Means whatever change in concentration of NO2 is done, square of that will be the factor by which our rate of reaction will alter. So this is one of the example where it is helping us to determine the rate of the reaction based on the rate law. So in this part we have done rate law.